Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Woo, welcome back, traders. We are jumping straight into the technical analysis. Hope you guys are having a stand-up freaking day, traders. And we're going to start here with AMC because I wanted to cover kind of what I'm seeing on the charts, why I think the moves you're seeing are happening, and what I expect to happen in the future, right? So if this is something you are interested in, stick around, hang out, slap the like button like this green thumb is suggesting, and let's just have a good time, guys. So today you saw a slightly green day. I'll cover on the daily first. That makes more sense, right? Again, it was kind of a crappy candle. I just want to be honest with you, but you did do something very substantial. And I just wanted to take a second to just look at the volume on today, traders. This is the lowest volume candle that you've had of 16 million shares. That's 18 million. Since this day right here, 15 million shares, what happened, right? What followed up with that freaking move? Volume is the driest before the biggest moves. And this is what's actually fascinating to me is you saw a shooting star candle, which is typically a big rejection candle off of this low of volume, right? 16 million. And you closed directly on top of the 9-day EMA. And that is substantial. So a test of the 9-day EMA, closing on top of it on that low of volume, traders, is telling me that the bears on this stock are non-existent. They have exited the chat, and you can now, hopefully, right, knock on whatever wood you got, you can now find higher price action. Now, if we break this down on the 4-hour, I'll give you guys kind of a little peeky-weeky on what I'm seeing, because I'm seeing some actually encouraging things, right? You have a little bit of this kind of consolidation channel that you're working with. Beyond that, right, we've seen the overall volume trend go down. That is overall bullish, right? Bullish to further upside. Because when you are trading down on lower in volume, it's a sign that sellers are not picking up, right? They're not stepping into the stock, driving the price down as soon as you hit resistance. But what it is hopefully a sign of is that buyers will step back into the stock once you break this descending resistance, and there's signs of that already, right? So we charted this RSI wedge, one of my favorite technical patterns to trade on or to swing trade on, because this is often where you see these big swing moves, and the RSI will tell you when the breakout, where the bottom is in typically. So looking at this RSI 4-hour wedge here that you had back from April all the way up to May. You broke it on May 4th, and that was your bottom here. And then you swung all the way from 140 traders up to 176. That's a decent swing. That is about a 25% swing there. Of course, you came all the way back down, but we were able to spot this bullish engulfing candlestick up 5.5% as a potential turnaround, and that's exactly what you did, right? So where you're at today, traders, is you're in a very similar RSI falling wedge, and you're starting to peak outside of that falling wedge. Now, you want to see continuation here, but just the setup alone, right? Just the formation and the low volume and the bullish confirmation above the 9-day are, for me, enough short-term bullish signals that this thing may pop any second now, right? You could have it today, you could have it tomorrow, but I would be willing to bet that before Friday, you're going to see this trend either break to the upside, or you're going to see a pretty significant move down to either this trend line here, right around 144, or to fill the gap at 112. And that is exciting because stagnant price action helps nobody, right? Doesn't help the bears, doesn't help the bulls. And I want to see this thing freaking print some freaking tendies, man. Like, you're so close to doing something amazing. You genuinely are. And if you guys have been around with the channel for a while now, we've talked about AMC when nobody else has. And this has been my conviction the entire freaking time, traders, is that once you pop into the 200-day EMA, you're not going to break it right away. And if you do, you're going to see some crazy volume like we saw here. 116 million candles on or volume on this candle, right? And you consolidating after doing that is probably one of the most bullish things I've seen on AMC. That's why I commented yesterday, right? If you guys watched the last video, this is the most bullish I've been on AMC in what feels like forever, because the stars are truthfully aligning here. And you could say what you want about the fundamentals, right? The debt, there's still a lot that has to be done here fundamentally. But the chart is set up in a way that is better than it has in over 5 years. And I'm just willing to cover that, right? And I think it's a beautiful thing for the community if this thing can break out. I am hoping the best for this because I want all you guys to win. I'm seeing a lot of hopeful and beautiful comments in our comment section. And it gets me excited. It really, really does. So on the daily time frame, we talked about the volume being absolutely piss poor. And then on the 4 hour, you're continuing to kind of consolidate here. And it's a beautiful thing holding above 175, because if you can swing above this trend line, guys, you're hopefully back above the 200-day EMA. And I know you guys know above the 200-day EMA, holding and closing above it is genuinely the most bullish AMC ever is. Because once you get above that freaking purple line, right, above this is where you see these boom, boom candles come in. You could zoom out and you can see the piss poor rejections that you've had off of it. And you can see just how the stock trends once you lose it. But once you get above this, traders, this is where the most exciting stuff happens, right? That's a 45% move and a shooting star candle. You have not truthfully traded above it ever since you lost it and bearishly retested it twice back in December of 2021. But this is the kind of bullish sentiment that I'm expecting if you can hold above this thing, guys. This flag formation. AMC has been coming back on people's radars, right? You're seeing a lot more YouTubers cover it, but we have not changed up a dang thing. And I'm not going to, because as you hold on this range, 140 to 175, this 50-day EMA, traders, is going to continue to curl up. And if you can use that as a baseline, a foundation for higher highs and higher lows, this thing is going to see craziness. It's just going to. And although this was not a good candle, traders, we talked about it in our live stream on Friday. You closing the week as a green candle on green, huge breakout volume is significant. And you're now stair-stepping. You're continuing to make higher highs and higher lows. What comes on the macro is going to be what's next, because you're printing a quarterly time frame bullish engulfing candlestick, guys. That is insane, right? That's crazy talk, especially for AMC. You have not seen a freaking candle like this on the quarterly, even though there's so many lines in this chart. Forgive me. But you've not seen a candle close on the quarterly time frame since back here. And what did you get? You got your quarterly MACD cross, traders. Look at what proceeded to happen once you got that. A 400% move and a 455% move. So if I am banging my freaking hands on the table, don't mind me, right? I'm just doing what we've talked about for the last 5 to 6 months on this stock, and it's finally coming to fruition, and that is the most encouraging thing, right? But I think we should talk about what is on the short-term downside. IWM looks like absolute caca right now. And I think I would be doing a disservice if I did not say that that is a disgustingly bearish setup on the short-term time frame, right? A wedge formation, fake out, breakout, a failure swing, and a retest rejection. That is absolute shite from IWM. That is not great. But what keeps me in good spirits is you just zoom out, traders. When in doubt, zoom out. And you can see if so much resistance and support either on this uptrend or on this horizontal previous resistance at your all-time high. And then 2 times you found it as support. So even if you lose this and AMC takes a slight slide, because nothing survives when the broader indexes go down. We know that, right? We knew that during 2022. That sucked. Hopefully this finds huge support and you can just see this thing continue to rally to all-time highs, because that's just been the trend, right? You break the flat resistance, you retest it, and you spring. You break the flat resistance, you retest it, you spring, right? You break the flat resistance, failure, and then spring. This chart on IWM is just a classic example of horizontal resistances and stair-stepping price action. You see it here. Double top, third test of resistance, spring, retest, and then that's your new all-time high. So I do not expect anything different. It's probably likely. And on the daily time frame, you have so many gaps, right? So if this is the longer, more extended retracement here, we'll talk about it, right? We'll cover it when it comes. But as it stands, traders, ooh, that's disgusting rejection of the 9-day EMA. You are still holding above this uptrend. So as it stands, you're still bullish, right? I would expect a test of the 50 at 277 if that fails to hold. But right now, we're cooking, guys. We are absolutely cooking with grease, and AMC looks amazing. I could not be more happy. Even though the candle close was disgusting today, it was on the lowest volume it could have been. And that keeps me hopeful that you may see AMC outperform the market in the shorter term. Now on GameStop, or actually let's cover AMC on the 4-hour, because you are squeezing on the Bollinger Bands for AMC. And just to give the Bollinger Bands a little shout out, it's a great technical technique or indicator to use, right? You can see as the bands squeeze on the 4-hour, that allows for these big blip candles or boom candles, and it oftentimes predicts volatility. Now, recently on AMC, it's been to the upside because AMC has been bullish, but you can even predict long-term downside movements from this. As the bands tighten, you should expect some kind of radical move to come from it. Now, you are now tightening again, right? And this could go on for another week or two, but every single time you see tight price action, the margins narrow, the candles narrow, and then you see these big 12% 4-hour candles, right? So if you're playing the volatility on AMC, and you're coming to an end in this formation, right? You really only have until the 10th between 175 and this downsloping resistance that you're either going to see a breakout or a breakdown. So when we talk about the narrowing of these Bollinger Bands, something's going to happen, right? Something's going to give. I am in the belief that it will be bullish, but if we do see, right, this is where you do your own due diligence. If we do see, where did I put that thing? Okay, I'll look at it again. If we do see IWM crash and burn, it's likely that you lose 175 and you come back for a healthy breather on AMC. But before we jump into GameStop, guys, I just want to say if you guys are enjoying the passion in which I speak and you're having fun so far, just do me a favor, slap that subscribe button and let's jump into GameStop, right? So GameStop seeing a test of all odds, really. I did not expect a green day above the 9-day EMA, but you saw a very positive development on GameStop as Ryan Cohen continues to kind of sneakily increase his share count in eBay, right? Rubbing his hands together, licking his lips, slowly but surely doing a hostile takeover of eBay. Now, one thing I want to caution you guys on is this green day came on low volume, right? Similar to AMC, one of the lowest volume days since the 28th. Now, you do have a technical gap below you, currently sitting at 21.14 or 21.24. And if you see that PO back on IWM, it's likely you fill that gap, traders, and you see a freaking beautiful opportunity, right? That is a gorgeous opportunity on GameStop to accumulate shares in an area that you not only have a price gap, but you also have this very reliable downsloping support to land on. And beyond that, right, you have even further things to catch you. You zoom out and you're in a bullish freaking pennant, guys. You could not be more happy with the structure of GameStop right now as you see a lot of the fundamental change. And you have this 1, 2, 3, 4th time that you're testing this uptrend. I'm not worried about GME at all. In fact, I would be a freaking buyer heavily in this 20, $50 zone. Now, you did get the daily MACD cross up. I'm in the belief that this may be a bull trap on GameStop because no matter how high you go, unless you get some kind of fundamental news, you're going to slap your head on this 50 EMA. You're going to slap your head on this resistance trend line that is the top of this wedge, and you're going to slap your head on the 200. So unless you see some crazy volume jump into GameStop, it's likely here that you see hesitation around this $23 price target. So all in that to say, I'm not really expecting anything very volatile on GameStop as you see some fundamental change, right? You're seeing acquisition talks, and that's uncertainty for the stock. So expect some more kind of sideways consolidation. I'm sure the Bollinger Bands are beyond tight. Oh, that's a beautiful sign. That is a beautiful sign, right? That's tight Bollinger Bands. The move gave you that. Tight Bollinger Bands, the move slapped you down. Tight Bollinger Bands, the move gave you that. So that is honestly the most promising sign that I've seen on GameStop in quite some time, that you have the tight Bollinger Bands on GME as you close above the mid band. That's genuinely a good sign, and it also does offer potential volatility soon. How soon? No idea, but that is promising. On the weekly time frame, starting to see higher highs and higher closings, which is good, right? You're already higher than the previous 1, 2, 3 weeks of trading. So you're now entering this kind of dull zone, which is a huge 11% candle. So you do have some room to go up here without resistance, which is very, very good, right? Monthly time frame, not a whole lot. Right? Not a whole lot on the monthly time frame. I did want to cover GME on the RSI because I'm sure there's some crazy, funky stuff going on there. Let's see. Daily time frame. Nothing. Weekly time frame. Okay. Weekly time frame is genuinely promising because you are coming in to a 50-line test, and the RSI band is sitting right around that point, right? So if we just outline for you guys where the 50-line occurs, where that test occurs or that retest occurs, oftentimes if you see that test go through the 50 line, right, this purple through the yellow, you see some pretty bullish price action. I'm just going to mark horizontally the last 3 times you've done that, and you can see from that point on, you see a pretty nice move, right? 16%, 25%, 25%. So pretty much all the volatility on GameStop stock right now, even though you've been ping-ponging back and forth horizontally, you can pretty much capture that just playing off of the RSI band. And you're coming into it again. So this is a huge point of resistance. I know I keep saying that, but you're testing 2 technical indicators at the same time, the 50 line and the RSI band. So if you see a break here, traders, I expect it to be violent, and you should see a pretty nice move if you're able to cross above that, right? That should give you, fingers freaking crossed, the break of this wedge and hopefully, right, price discovery. But we're going to have to see what happens when we get there. On the GME warrants, because I know so many people care about that. Psych, it's just my boy, only in paradise. But I promised I would cover it every day for him because I love him. He's a loyal fella. GME warrants. On the weekly time frame, let's get rid of the Bollinger Bands. Weekly time frame. Ooh, seeing a little bit of a bounce from this horizontal support right around 318. You do have the 9 weekly EMA and the 50 about to cross down. Typically bearish, right? That should slam you down, but we're going to have to test and see how you react. Daily time frame, you're about to get a death cross. That doesn't look great, but you are also curling the MACD back up, right? So if you could do the same thing that the GME shares did and see that green MACD cross, you should see that retested. That would also come with the second, third retest of this uptrend. So that is going to be the most pivotal point on this freaking thing. If you can cross back above this very pivotal uptrend after testing it for the 3rd time, that is going to hopefully give you a rebound above the 50 and the 200 and above this resistance trend line. Because if you smash through that, guys, easy peasy, lickety split, you're freaking flying, right? It's going to be very hard to hold this thing down, and you go into price discovery. But be very, very careful, traders, because this is not a particularly bullish setup on the GME warrants, as you have so much resistance. But it is the opportunity to accumulate at lows, right, and potentially sell at highs. So you guys do your own due diligence on the stock. I'm just a charter, right? I love the freaking lines, I love the fundamentals, and I like the stock. So if you guys found some enjoyment out of this, guys, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, right? I'm here every single day, or at least I try to be for y'all. It means a lot. And remember, traders, this is our slogan. This is what we always say. God bless you and your families. And remember, the best is yet to come. Peace.